My dearest brothers and sisters, this is Tunia speaking. I love you so very much. Here's a simple but very powerful habit that can help you feel more happiness in the medium term. Every evening, possibly just before bed, take a moment to think about something, anything, that you did well during that day. Even if it's something normal. And just take a moment to reflect that you did that thing well that day. For example, you can think, it's good that I went to work today and performed reasonably well there. Or you can think it's good that I did that chore today. Or you can think, I had a good conversation with that person, or I'm happy I expressed affection towards that person. Or, it's good that I exercised or meditated today. Or you can think, I'm good at this thing and I'm happy about that, or I'm grateful for this. I wouldn't recommend having a mental narrative that you had to go to work and therefore it doesn't count. You always have a choice. Even if it means choosing to work rather than homelessness, well, that's still a choice. And from a psychological lens, it feels much better to acknowledge that you chose to work and did reasonably well, rather than tell yourself you had to do it. If you really hate your job, then that's something you can observe and possibly take practical action on, seeing if you can make your work less frustrating, or finding a new job. If thinking through what you did well triggers a feeling in you that your plate is still too full and you're metaphorically drowning, then I empathize, and also, see if there's some way you can take some pressure off yourself. It's better to start taking care of yourself now rather than when you're completely stuck or exhausted. Despite your knowledge and spiritual gifts, you're still in a physical body. You still have a nervous system, emotions, stress response system, physicality, etc. that can get overwhelmed and exhausted. You can't always just spiritual exercise or spiritual knowledge your way through stress. Sometimes you need to take something off your plate, or take a period of rest. In the medium term, not taking rest now might be even more inconvenient and time-consuming than resting now. Plus, you deserve sufficient rest. Alternatively, if telling yourself that you did something well triggers in you a feeling that you should be doing more or better things than you're doing, well, note that this isn't a law of physics. Instead, this is a human-made concept in your head, perhaps something that other people told you. It's something you can observe, and then consider if you want to take practical action on. In general, it's not useful to compare yourself against some theoretical ideal, or to compare yourself against other people. Yes, sure, it would be great if you had a better life, or if you had a life like that person has. But there's no objective basis in reality for why you should compare yourself against that. And it's clear that this generally isn't something that will make you happier. If you're simply unhappy with your own life or feel a general sense of unhappiness, well, that's something that you can observe, and after that you can decide if you want to take practical action. For example, maybe you can add a tiny thing to your weekly routine that over time will make your life better or make you happier. Start small, don't immediately add a huge thing to your routine. Focus on being forward-moving rather than focusing on the gap between where you are and where your dream life is. By consistently putting a small effort into moving in the right direction, eventually you'll end up in a much better place, and perhaps even a different place than you had originally envisioned. You probably can't transform your life in a weekend, but you can transform your life by putting in small amounts of consistent effort for 6 months. Every evening reflecting on what you did well that day, and consistently putting in a small amount of effort to improve your routines and habits, is a very powerful combination. In the medium term, doing that will massively improve your life. It is powerful to not constantly focus on the negative, to not constantly put energy into I don't have this, I can't do that, I must do this, my life sucks. Instead, I invite you to put some energy into I choose to do this today, and yes, sure, it was a sort of normal thing, but it's still good that I did it. I acknowledge that life on Earth is really harsh right now, and that you may have substantial practical problems that aren't immediately addressed by this message. To that I say, I'm sorry, I love you, and I empathize. And hang on. You're stronger than perhaps you think you are, and better times certainly are coming. Also, the Epstein files must be released. With all my love. Your star sister, Tunia.